Let's talk about willpower. We are told that if we want to make real change, then we need more of it, to become more disciplined, to just power through the challenges that life presents. But what if I told you that willpower itself is the problem? That it is actually a trap that keeps you stuck in a cycle of self-sabotage? That what we are seeing is not that you need more willpower, but rather that you need a new way to operate. You see, the conventional idea of willpower has us constantly fighting against ourselves, against our desires, our habits, our emotions. This constant battle is exhausting. This is what so many people refer to as high friction living, where they feel like they're using a lot of energy just to push through their day. And what so many people do is to rely on willpower alone, because they feel like they just need to be more disciplined or to have more control. The problem is that willpower is a finite resource. It's a bit like battery. The more you use it, the more drained it becomes. And one day, it's just going to run out. This is why people often experience that surge of activity when they try to implement a new regime. They will work so hard for a few weeks and then they just run out of steam. This can make us feel like we're not strong enough, we are not committed enough, or we are just failing. This is not true. It's just that we've been using willpower in a way that's not sustainable. The problem isn't that you lack the ability to use your willpower, it's that you are dependent on it too much. Willpower is used when one part of you desires one thing and another part of you desires another. And the frontal lobe steps in to override those other competing systems. What happens is that you have your brain, which is constantly giving you impulses to move towards comfort, pleasure, and things that will provide immediate dopamine, like scrolling on social media, playing video games, eating unhealthy foods. And then you have the part of your brain that is seeking for more meaningful things, more long-term security, more purpose. When there is a discrepancy between those two things, this is where willpower is needed to bridge the gap. But as we have already stated, willpower is a finite resource. It's not a solution. Instead of focusing on trying to expert more willpower, instead of focusing on trying to exert more willpower, what I want you to consider is decreasing the need for it in the first place. This is where we can start to explore the inside-out understanding. Because all of our actions are driven from 5 different sources: desire, habit, emotion, motivation, and finally, willpower. What we need to do is to learn how to work with those, so we are not always relying on willpower to push us forward. So how do you actually do that? Here are some key concepts that, when put in practice, will drastically reduce the need for willpower in your life. First of all, understand your drivers. Become aware of which one of those 5 drivers are causing you to act. Are you doing things out of pure desire for immediate pleasure? Or maybe you are doing things out of habit, not even making a conscious choice. Are you being driven by your emotions or by deep feeling of purpose or ambition? Learning the difference between these states will help you to understand where your actions are really stemming from. Secondly, reduce your desires, not your willpower. The key to decreasing the need for willpower is not by strengthening your willpower, but by decreasing the strength of your desires. This doesn't mean you need to stop wanting things. It means that you need to start to make a distinction between desire and purpose. If your desire is to get that quick dopamine hit, it means that your brain is not being fulfilled by the long-term or meaningful tasks. And if that's the case, then no amount of willpower will help you to reach your potential. Thirdly, cultivate emotional regulation. Emotions are a powerful source of information and a motivator for action. But often when emotions are driving us, we are less likely to make the choices we need to. Emotional regulation is not about suppressing your emotions, it's about recognizing how your emotions are affecting your behaviors, and making a more conscious choice about how you engage with them, rather than being controlled by them. Fourth, redesign your habits. Most of what we do every day happens on autopilot. It's run by habits and routines. By becoming aware of those habits, we can then start to design them so that they are working for us. First and foremost, we need to recognize automatic behavior or a habit. And then, instead of working for us, so instead of constantly fighting that urge to scroll on social media or to buy unhealthy foods, what routines can you create that help you move in a positive direction? And the first step is to recognize and voice it out. Oh, I'm now doing this thing. Fifth, embrace the action and actions at stake. The most powerful thing that you can do is to remove the motivation from your actions. Start to do things that you are doing for the sake of doing them. Take a walk, not to lose weight, but to feel your body moving. Cook a meal not because you want to feel satisfied, but because you love to nourish yourself. Work on that project, not because you feel like you should do it, but because you want to feel engaged and connected with something greater than yourself. The more you do things that don't serve the immediate desires, the easier it becomes to access that part of you that moves in the right direction, not just needs the immediate dopamine hit. You want to be always thanking your past self. So the journey to effortless control isn't about more willpower. It's about understanding the nuances of your own mind and body. It's about a life where your actions are aligned with your highest values and your greatest potential, without constant push and pull of internal conflict. By understanding the power of desire, habit, emotion, and motivation, we can start to create a new life that works for us, not against us. And a life where willpower is an effective support, not a limiting factor. That's it for now. See you in the next one.